So my answer generally is buy a 6.5 PRC Tikka, use it for a year. That'll kind of tell you what you want. Why do I say 6.5 PRC for all Western hunting? Hell, all North American hunting. And it's all based around a 147. Jake's right. 147 ELDM is the bullet.
My boys put me on a shooter hunt. You gotta check this out, Mike. Mike, you gotta check this podcast out, so I gave it a listen. The episode I listened to was 38, and it was talking about murder bunnies. I'm sitting there on shrooms. Next thing you know, man, I'm put the fear in them bunnies' eyes, man. I ripped their hearts out. It was ferocious, but I was faster. I was quicker. I moved quicker. I swift. Ate the souls, man. I ate the souls. Nothing was stopping Iron Mike. I'm crazy, and no one understands me but me. I'm not even a hunter, but sometimes I just listen to them. There is a reason the shoot to hunt exists. Don't say I didn't tell you so. Mike out.
Mike out.
Yeah, we're ready for a new one now.
Mike
That
out.
was not. That's not going to carry time.
Oh no, that's like a couple intro wonder,
Yeah,
couple podcast wonder, and then it has to be recycled.
yeah.
The Borat needs to make a comeback because that's the one I keep hearing the most about. Borat.
We all have a secret fetish with Borat, I guess.
You know, I'm like I didn't really know who he was until you guys brought him up and I watched it.
It's a love-hate thing.
Yeah, you gotta be in the right mood.
To me, it's like Will Ferrell as a comedian. It's a love-hate thing.
You don't like Will Ferrell?
It's love-hate. You don't know if you like him. You don't know if you don't like him. It's just kind of like, eh.
He's a funny fucker.
He's pretty funny, but he has that. It's just he has a certain type of comedy. Just like most comedians have a certain little little niche that they do. Yeah, and Borat is like the next level of comedian. Like he lives it. It's like a good magician.
Mm-hmm.
They have this, what is the name of that? What is the name of that movie where it's two magicians against each other? And
this is your genre.
God damn it. I'm going to look it up and figure it out. It's a really good magic movie. And they have to live. Like one guy ends up having a twin, but nobody knows he has a twin. So during the course of the movie, a guy gets his finger cut off, one of the twins. The other twin has to cut his finger off to match the other twin. Because so their entire lives, they've been growing up without anybody knowing there's a twin, and that's their secret for the magic. Like he'll disappear, but he'll appear over here.
Bitch.
And the whole movie, you don't know that. So that's part of, that's what I'm talking about. So for like the Borat thing, you're like living it. It's not like just a comedy skit. He is the comedy by his performance, the person that he is.
He's always on.
Yes.
Kind of like, what was his name? Robin Williams. Always on. Will Ferrell.
Crazy that guy killed himself.
Phew, man. Lots of people killed themselves and you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
The Will Ferrell he has one of the most, they do like Saturday Night Live. They have all those, they make other comedians lose it and start laughing. Will Ferrell has like one of the highest make people start losing it. So he's pretty impromptu funny.
Oh yeah. But I think it's his talent for keeping a straight face no matter what's happening. That's a talent in and of itself.
Yeah.
Not laughing.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, when he's in The Other Guys with what's the other actor?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Dude.
The Prestige is the name of the movie.
The Prestige.
The Prestige. You would like it. I kind of gave it a little bit away already, so that's kind of shitty.
Fuck the whole everybody listening.
It's still a good.
Now they're fucked out of watching it.
It's old. You should have watched it already. There's no fucking. I'm not giving away the punchline because
there's no way you're not going to outmovie me.
Yeah.
I have the attention span of a sand gnat. I could not stay engaged very long.
You outmoved me with the fucking caterpillar movie. Centipede.
No.
Good God.
The Human Centipede.
Human Centipede.
Everybody needs to watch that.
I wish there was a way to delete movies off of iTunes that doesn't let you do that, but that would be one movie I would delete out of my library. Because I'm scrolling through looking for something to watch, and I gotta see the fucking skin.
Instant memory.
It is. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's a terrible movie that everybody needs to watch.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Do not watch it.
I have a call to action for our people, and it's very selfish, but I'm still looking for a mule. I need another mule. So
why you need another mule?
If you have another mule. I sold carrots to Jim, and
You know,
I need another mule.
you are the biggest broker of items in history. Why can't you just fucking hold on to some shit?
There's reasons.
Like it's like a thing in the shop too. Like one guy's selling another guy a chassis, another guy's selling another guy a scope. I don't sell shit to anybody.
Dude, you're just not that. You're not a bargainer. You're not a barter.
No.
You know, like the person that we know is the most epic barter.
Imagine Nick.
Yes, Nick.
That's not hard to see.
There is
Because
nothing.
you go to Nick's house,
Yep.
you know.
There is nothing that Nick.
He's
We'll
slinging
figure it
some
out.
shit.
Oh, dude, it's always a deal.
Yeah.
And then we kind of go in together to kind of lowball people.
Okay.
So
Okay, so you both are hitting them from different angles. Like, I'm going to give you 34, no, I'm
Yeah.
going to give you 32.
yeah, see where that low ground is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So one guy could really lowball it, piss the guy off, but you know where your low is at that point. You know, you can't go lower than that. No shit. You're just as bad as him, I think.
I'm not as bad.
I don't
But
know.
I'm up there.
Yeah.
I'm always angling for a deal.
I thought you liked that mule.
I do like her, but it's kind of like a thing where I can still use her. But Jim had one that his daughters could ride, and she's getting older. So I'm looking for a mule that's, everybody's looking for that cheap, totally broke mule. So I'm looking for that.
Ryan wants the $30,000 mule for $5,000.
Yeah, it's like
You got one of those laying around.
I want that rifle that doesn't kick and knocks down trees.
Good Lord.
Same thing. If you have a mule, get a hold of me, podcast@shoothunt.com. Or you know of one. Because here's the deal.
No, hold on. You need to tell me first so that I can buy it and upcharge Ryan on it. I'm a barter with him.
Yeah, because if there's a good deal to be had is not a known mule. It's kind of like buying a house. If you know a house is coming to the market, before it comes to the market, that's where the deals lie.
Yeah.
If a mule's already going to auction or it's already on Facebook, there's just too many people looking for fucking mules.
Yeah.
So,
or if you're on I think a lot of times on Craigslist, there'll be guys that list stuff that aren't necessarily worried about the money part. They're just trying to get rid of something.
Mhm.
So you'll see some, quad pop up for $3,000 that should have been $6,000. And I know there's people that just watch the listings as they hit looking for those type of deals.
absolutely. I gave a Facebook Marketplace 2 weeks ago. I sold 2 things dirt cheap just 'cause I wanted them gone.
Facebook Marketplace. I have no
Dude, that's
part of that world.
That motherfucker's the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of people that don't show up is ridiculous.
Huh. Like fucking looking for employees on Indeed.
Yeah.
Had a no call, no show this morning, 10 a.m.
Indeed Marketplace.
No shit.
Really? You'd have people don't show up for interviews.
Dude, that's one yesterday, one today. Like literally, I just text with them, they verified the time, and then they don't show up.
Did she respond or they respond back to you?
I don't even, that's done at that point.
It was a
fucking resume goes in the trash. I'm done.
There's a Freudian slip when I said she.
Oh.
They don't show up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sorry, but generally I go through, and if it's a she, they probably don't make it to the next spot.
Yes.
Only because the she's have laid out a track record with us.
Yes.
That would make you lean away from she's.
Yes.
So it's technically their fault. I'm just following the average. Anyways.
Can't argue.
No.
But and some of the he's don't add up.
You are a bartering motherfucker. I'm going to go drop a backpack off over here on the corner, making a deal.
Dude, I'm not publicly saying what I was doing.
It's funny too.
The
So
other day.
we talked about, we are going to kick off the Half-Ass Hunting Academy again next year.
Mm-hmm.
We missed this year because we had some shit going on and it's way too late to try and do it. But Ryan's big idea for the Half-Ass Hunting Academy next year is to do basically like a hunting gear swap meet.
Yeah, like a ski swap. Everybody does ski swaps.
I don't know what the fuck a ski swap is.
Skiing gear. Like downhill skiing.
You know what's funny shit is that, back in Southern California where I never lived, swap meets were a really big thing.
Yeah.
Have you been to a real swap meet?
Yeah.
A real swap meet is one you can't walk in one day.
No.
That's a real swap meet.
I've been to a couple that get warehouses that are huge.
Okay.
In Spokane.
Maybe it's the fucking weather here that makes it not happen. But dude, there was a time in Jessica and I in our lives that every Saturday morning we got up and went to the swap meet, even though we didn't need anything. Like you just get up and go. You look through people's shit that they brought to the swap meet that day.
You
And
ever find anything?
Yeah, sometimes I'd find like some Snap-on tools for a deal, or that like you go looking for a deal like like you do.
Dude.
But you had somewhere to go for that. It wasn't, and maybe the internet fucked that up too. Because you didn't have Craigslist, you didn't have Facebook Marketplace. You had to go physically to the swap meet where other people were bartering and look for a deal.
Yeah, I would. The ability to sell something, an item quickly online is.
Well, it could be anything, dude. It could be the toilet they just took out of their house.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there for sale.
What's the funniest thing to me is you would say you have an item and it's worth $1,000. No matter what you do, I'll put it up there. $1,000 firm, whatever. I'll give you $100.
That's you though,
motherfucker.
But that's you. You're doing that to other people, so you have it coming.
Okay, but I try to be reasonable.
Yeah.
Like I would have said, how about $750?
But if it says 1,000 firm, there is no wiggle room there.
Yeah?
That's what the word means.
Okay, I bought something. I bought a saddle. On fucking Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
He wanted $2,200 firm.
Okay.
And I got it for $1,250.
Did you get it for $1,250 on the phone or when you showed up?
When I showed up.
Yeah. So I think if you say, I want to come look at your saddle, and then you're in front of the guy and you kind of just pull out the money and you're like counting through your money while you're bullshitting with him or whatever, and he sees that you have cash and he sees that you're serious, at that point there's wiggle room because it's right in front of you. But if you try to call him on the phone ahead of time, be like, would you take $1,250? He'd have told you to fuck off.
Yeah. And I like to wear people down, as you know.
The fuck. You can wear me the fuck out.
You know what's funny is I like to barter like that level. You know what I fucking despise, and Tanya deals with it, is buying cars. I fucking hate dealing with those people.
Buying car, I don't know if it gets better as you get older and they just see that you're older and you're not going to fucking take their shit. But buying cars for me lately has been as easy as I bought her that Yukon. I didn't even put her on it. I walked in and I handed the dude my ID, and we had bought one car there before. And before I would do 20 minutes later, we walked out. Like it really wasn't.
But you didn't try to do any bartering at all. You just
at that time. So it was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
She had a mental breakdown, and that was the only fucking Yukon within 500 miles of here. So it was almost like I didn't care. It was like the price is what the price is. I'm buying it, kind of thing. And I regret it afterwards.
Yeah.
But at the time, there really wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
That was the one she wanted. Now you'd be arguing. Yeah, you'd be
a little more back and forth. The thing that is, it's like used car lots or buying cars. That wasn't a used car, but it's no different in buying mules. I don't know what it is about. They're like used horse salesmen.
Okay.
Holy fuck, dude. There's some great people out there, but there's a whole lot of sleazeballs too. Everybody's horse is 100% broken. Their grandma and their kids could ride it.
Yeah.
Its name's Bucky, and you get it and it kicks you in the fucking head because nothing's true and it's drugged.
It's almost like you need like a sobriety check or something for a mule that you put it through before you take it, just to know that it's not crazy.
Yeah. And it is. The thing is I'm still a novice. I still don't know shit, but so I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground. I'm looking at a mule. You can get on it, and if it's, if it is drugged up or if it is fucked up, it's going to kind of do what you want it to do. And not knowing, being a novice, you got to have help and have people that actually look at it too. With a car, you're kind of like, I can take it to Nick. I can take a car to Nick and say, Nick, look at this car. This car a piece of shit. Is it worth this? And he can give me a pretty good estimate. A mule, not so much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, a car can be through anything. Now we have Carfax. Back in the day, you didn't have Carfax reports, and you had to, take somebody at their word, and you're under there, and you're looking under the hood at like the buckle points to see if it's ever been hit in the front. There's lots of shit that you can do to understand there. You go back there, pull the spare tire out. You're looking underneath in the trunk to see if it's been hit in the back, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Kind of thing. And you just didn't have any real information back then.
Nope. It's wild, wild west.
Anyways,
you could roll back the speedometers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of things you can do to quiet down belts, timing belts, regular belts, put some shit in the oil to make it not leak. I mean, there's all kinds of shit you can do.
If that shit didn't work, you just took it to Mexico and burnt that fucker to the ground.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Allegedly.
I really don't know what you're talking about. God damn, that was the crazy, crazy shit, man.
Allegedly. We actually need to. Well, we have a couple things out of that. We got some decent 6 40 and 30 data. Definitely on the 40. 30 data is pretty solid.
So the first couple questions I already got on the DMs. Okay. And maybe you got some through the other channels too. I only looked at unknown, but First question, the guy asked, did you try 565? And I basically told him, no, we only tried the best powder that would be for that cartridge, which
Yes.
we did run quick load,
Mhm.
and then 570 was determined to be the best powder at that point. And of course, the velocity somewhat matched what the best powder is. I don't know if you've tried anything else.
We've tried, well, in the 6UM, I've tried H1000 and 565, but you're giving up. Basically, if you ran H1000 or 565 in a 6UM 40, it's basically a 6UM 30
Okay, you're giving them 100 feet a second.
or average.
So you could technically use it
Yeah.
if that's all you have, but in 570 is the most velocity.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you like, to me, you may lose a little bit of barrel life, but you're building this, in my opinion, to be a race car. I mean, it is a top fuel funny car.
Yeah.
And you want it to go as straight and fast as it can down the track.
Yeah.
So why would you get all that and then hamstring it? It's
Yeah.
kind of like using monos.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess one guy's excuse might be is I don't have any 570, but 570 is regularly available lately. It's not something you can't find.
Nothing about this project is easy to find.
Yeah.
So that's going to be your limiting factor. I guess there are those people. I just don't get that
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 215 matches were just available at Midway. So a lot of guys talk, oh, I can never find, large rifle primers or Magnum or whatever you want to say, but those were literally just on Midway and some other places. We just got a huge order of them from our supplier, so they definitely did a pretty big run. ADG 6UM brass, you could use 6.5 saw and neck it down, and we are going to be getting batches of 6UM as we go. But either way, the load data will stay the same between neck down 6.5 saw brass and 6UM head stamp brass. D-Tacs tend to be fairly available from
They're not.
Tub.
They're still in stock.
Okay, Don, tell me about, so then the second question I got so far on the DMs was, is the load data the same for a 26-inch barrel? And the answer is yes.
Yep.
You're just going to get about 25 feet per second more per inch on your velocity. So 32 would be 33 and 33 would be 34 with that extra, 150 more.
Yeah, like the
So it'd be-
24-inch barrels are getting into the mid 34s.
Yeah, so we're talking 3350 and 3450 at a 26-inch barrel. So
Probably
maybe even faster.
Kurt out of the 40 is the 24-inch barrel. He's getting like 3450.
Shit.
Yeah. So
Is there a point at which too much is too much?
2 different barrels. I don't know. He kills the shit out of his.
That bullet's not going to come apart?
Doesn't seem to.
Okay, so talking about bullets coming apart, the next question I got was an email. So just so you guys understand, those of you that have purchased 6UM 30 or 40 production load ammo from UM, this will be the data that they're loaded to.
Mhm.
Of course, that's with 115s. If you're doing 108s or something different, there'll be a little bit different numbers there, obviously. We should probably come out with a 108 screen, too. That'd probably be the second most common bullet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Until maybe we get a bigger bullet at some point from Sierra. I tagged Sierra on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Third request was this guy talked about the nose ring on the Tub 115, that it was 20 thousandths deep,
Mhm.
and he wanted the 30 thousandths deep variation. Now you're just running the 20, right?
Yeah, I've ran deep cuts,
Yeah.
and you have to call and order them from them. They'll do it.
Yes.
But you got to call them and ask for the deep cuts. I think they're 40 thousandths. I think they're 20 thousandths deeper.
Could be.
But I have seen no difference, and I still shot more animal with the standard cuts, but we've shot quite a few animal with the deep cuts. Forums shot quite a few animal with the deep cuts. I shot all the animals in Africa. I shot the nilgai. We've all these elk. Everything's pretty much shot with standard cut details.
Okay.
And I don't see an issue.
Okay. So in your opinion, no reason to go with the deeper cut.
Unless you're an outlier and you're shooting.
What about close range?
No, I think it's even better with the standard.
Well, that would
close
make
range.
sense, right? So if you wanted it to come
It
apart,
would be the outliers.
Yes.
If you're at the very end of your terminal performance, or if you're shooting, you live on shooting black bear and whitetail and axis deer, thin animals.
Yep.
Then I would start looking at deep cuts.
And on the standard cut, you mentioned was a 1,600 feet per second was the lowest expansion velocity that you've
14.
seen. 1,400.
14.
And that was a standard cut,
Standard
and it
cut,
still performed great.
Still snapped off, still tumbled.
Okay, so that's a good
Yeah.
number for you guys. 1,400 feet per second. And if you're not going beyond that, I wouldn't worry about a deeper cut, or maybe not worry about a deeper cut at all.
That's the craziest thing about a DTAC. And again, we don't have a lot of those super low impact velocities, but I think we have 3 below the standard 1,800 feet per second that say like an ELDM needs.
Mhm.
They've all tumbled. So, and I think it's 3 or 4 that are far below that, 3 for sure, maybe a 4th. They've all tumbled, and they've all been dramatically violent inside the animal.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that lower limit is.
Yeah.
I do know at 1400, the tip came off with a standard cut, and it tumbled through the elk.
Is there a good thread on Rockside that houses most of that data for kill shots, maybe, autopsies, things like that, and devastation? And
most of them all in the 6UM thread.
Is it just 6UM?
Just the 6UM.
The 6UM.
Yeah, it's huge, and there's a lot of things. I keep on trying to pull information from a few people that I know have used the 6UM from the start, and I think I'm going to compile it into an actual article on the front page with all of just the death, wound channels, how many animals, because it's well over, if you take everybody's, it's probably well over 100 animals now, and it's probably well over 30, probably over 40 elk.
Shit.
So and we're shooting some, we shot a giraffe, we shot some big plains game in Africa, we shot a nilgai, which people say are really tough, and then a whole bunch of elk, which people consider one of the toughest animals in North America.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no surprises, and it's just been epic death.
Yeah.
So
we did ensure that Whidden has received the 30-degree resizing and chamber reamers to make the dies. We have 30 sets of dies on order at the moment, which is well over what we've sold. But that order did just go in, so that's probably going to take about 8 to 10 weeks to get those from Whidden. 40-degree shoulder dies are always coming. And also dies went to ADG for their new sizing die as well for both degree shoulders. So everybody has what they need right now, so we're still in a little bit of a waiting game for the tooling for the 30-degree stuff, but everything is working its way.
And ADG's also making a 30?
Yes.
Do you have any idea when the 40 or 30 will be out?
The 40 shouldn't be long because they already had that one. I'll give Marlon a holler on that.
Yeah, so there'll be 2 different ways to get dies.
Yeah, the ADG is definitely, I would say, a higher quality, better built, basically beast of a die.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be just a sizing die. It'll come with the neck bushings, and it should be available soon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the getting into the load dev, you just made a graphic to put up online. And what it boils down to, and again, we have really, really, really good data on the 6UM40 with 20 inches. We have 1 barrel with the 6UM30, and it's about 100 feet per second.
Yeah. But
what we have seen with the 40 is your barrel can be plus or minus 50 feet per second.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get a barrel that shoots at one at 3240 with a 30, or you could get one that shoots at 3150.
Yeah.
So there is a little variance. And it matches, though, because like you said, we're 2 grains apart.
Yeah.
66 grain for the 40, 64 grains through the 30, and it's about 100 feet per second.
And to put that into, so a grain of N570 weighs 0.08. So if we did 2 full grains divided by 0.08, that's 25 kernels.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right. 25 kernels worth around 4 feet per second with a kernel of N570 equals 100.
Really?
So that's pretty fucking close.
That's good math, man.
Yes. So you could take the number 2 because it's 2 full grains. Each grain of N570 weighs 0.08 grains. Divide that up. That's 25. Each kernel. So a H4350 kernel is 1 to 2 feet per second.
Mm-hmm.
An N570 size kernel is 4 feet per second. So that puts you right at about 100.
And what's interesting with those grain jumps, because I went from 63 to 65, and 65 is hot in the 30. But the difference, the jump between 63 and 64 was damn near 100 feet.
Mm.
The jump from 64 to 65 was only like 40 feet.
Yeah.
So you're
getting there.
You're getting there. Yeah. Kind
Yeah.
of tells me you're about there, but nobody's going to like to, well, me and you would probably shoot the 65, but I would not suggest that to anybody else.
Yeah.
Because your brass life's going to suck, and it is the bolt is difficult. It's pretty stiff.
I wonder if being that was on a Tikka action, if it was on, say, a bat hammerhead or a bat Vesper, if the stronger action would hold that pressure a little bit better, and maybe you don't feel heavy bolt lift.
Well, like in the Mayhem series with the 6.5 PRC, when I shot the Mayhem in I think that was a Defiance ultralight, but steel action, we were shooting so you'd know better than this, 60 grains of 570 in this. And I shot that in a Tikka, and it was stout. Nothing, no stiff bolt lift in the Remington clone.
Yeah.
Lots of bolt
So
lift.
there's something to be said there that maybe the fact that we developed the load in a Tikka is because we run a lot of Tikkas around here, and maybe you do get a little less pressure in a 700, and you can come up as needed. Never know.
Yeah. And there's lots of Tikkas, so we wanted to base it off of that because I think most of the UMs are going out as Tikkas.
No.
But if you're going for the max velocity and that's your thing, you may be able to hide a little pressure. We wouldn't recommend that, allegedly, that you would want to do that, but you may be able to get a little more speed out of that stiffer action.
If you need any more. I mean, like we said, 32, 33, 34 is just screaming. I don't know that you need much more.
Yeah, and if I wanted max speed, I would do it in barrel length. I wouldn't change actions for it. Because you're going to hit 3,500 feet per second with a 26-inch barrel.
Yeah. That being said, you're shooting 6 UM30s for the Night Force out of a 30-inch barrel this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the speed.
Yeah. Well, if you did that with a 20, you should be 250 over that.
Yeah.
So at least 3,450.
3,450. It'll be interesting. People like to say, will it stay in tune?
Yeah.
Over 100 plus rounds. So it'll be interesting to see if it does.
We'll know in June.
Yeah.
Enhance your shooting experience with Stocky Stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength in a lightweight build. Stocky Stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand layup carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experienced unmatched precision and durability with Stocky Stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with Stocky Stocks.
I'm excited about that. Yeah. And I got a better shooter with me.
Oh, fuck. Here we go. Maybe he is. I hope you guys fucking crush it.
I've upgraded partners.
But if you don't crush it, we're both David Mason.
Oh, absolutely. That poor kid can't win.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's part of being a kid.
Yeah. So you're pretty much out of the 630 brass, correct? For all intents and purposes?
I don't have the most recent numbers, but I would say yes. Unless you're building a rifle, we're probably out.
Okay. Did they have any idea?
I should have got numbers. Well, no, they had 8 to 10 weeks on tooling from when they did that run, which probably puts us somewhere around where we're at. We might be 8 weeks since they ran it right now. And he did tell me that he was going to run it again to fill the rest of our order.
Okay.
Before we put in another order.
Gotcha.
So we should have another 15 grand coming at some point.
Okay.
That's hard to say.
Yeah. So don't dick around if
I should have got numbers because I still think we have some 6.5 SAUM brass left. Maybe you know better than I do.
It's on your site. You have some.
Okay.
Because somebody asked me, I think this weekend, and I looked.
If you're nervous about it, like I would be, and you want to just have something no matter what, I would buy some of that 6.5 SAUM before it's gone.
Get the like we've already done all this in previous podcasts. You want to supply a brass before you move on to anything else.
Yeah.
So secure it.
And if you're in a 40, technically you're blowing out both shoulders. You add one extra step if you're at the 6.5 SAUM, and that's a 1-step neck down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not killing you.
No.
Be all right.
Shot a lot of that.
Yeah. And we could do all that for you too if you don't want to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, it's pretty much there's no change in the load in the 6UM40 from 6.5 neck or 6.5 SAUM neck down or the new 6UM brass fire formed and shot. It's doing the same. It's within 12 feet per second over a pretty ES-wise over a pretty big spread of bullets now.
And you did say something about 2 5-shot group aggregate on that 6UM30.
Well, now I got to take a picture and send it in, but I shot this load that UM's going to use. It's 64 grains and it's 50 thousandths off. And I shot 2 5-shot groups and overlaid their 0.6.
Nice.
Which are pretty fucking good.
That's solid. I could probably shoot a little bit better than that, but
maybe.
Yeah.
But what I fucking thought was interesting is this is why you rely on people that shoot a lot. I asked Nick, like, what are you seeing? He's like, well, I'll just go 50 off. And we shot that 50 off and just random.
Yeah.
Didn't pull it out of our ass, but basically did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shot fantastic.
Nice.
So, and again, this is an ace barrel. Results could vary in your barrel if it's not an ace barrel. But I would say benchmark barrels, we have a pretty good size of 6UMs built off benchmark, and they seem to be very similar with accuracy as the ace. So I think if you have a quality barrel manufacturer, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. Definitely. We do have a builder program for those ace barrels. You guys get $40 off a barrel. Just reach out by email to sales@unknownmunitions.com if you want to give one a shot. We've been using ace barrels exclusively for steel barrels now for 2 years at least. And we don't have problems. They're very easy to dial in, very easy to chamber. It is 6 Ballard rifling, but we really don't see them that don't shoot.
And they are fast.
Yeah.
Because I think benchmarks are fast, but I've seen a bunch of results from other barrels, like Tanya's barrel from Packnor is fucking slow in a 6UM. It's basically like a 6UM 30, even though it's a 6UM 40.
Yeah.
So not all barrels are the same.
No. And then maybe just as accurate. It's just you get a tight or a loose barrel. And contrary to popular belief, the tighter the barrel is, the faster it is.
Yeah, and I was talking to Mark again this weekend, and I still don't understand how they do it, but he said they try to make it tighter towards the muzzle. He says that usually gives you a little faster and a little better groups for some reason. I don't know the science behind it, but that's what he said.
Yeah. Interesting.
And they are fast.
Well, we haven't talked much about the topic today.
Topic today is, I told you beforehand, I always hate when people influencers or anybody open up with, I get this question a lot because chances are they don't fucking get that question a lot.
Yeah.
But I do, and I know you do. What cartridge should I buy if I'm only going to buy one cartridge for all Western hunting? Really, all North American hunting. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
And I told you what I said, and then you told me, well, I have a difference of opinion from the people.
Our fucking boss brought the topic in here.
Yeah.
And it says 6.5 PRC, our top pick for an all-purpose cartridge. And I said, well, who the fuck is our? Did we have like a poll or something I didn't know about? Because I didn't have any input on this. And he kind of just, I guess, picked it himself. Yeah. He's been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, but he kind of changed the question.
Yeah.
Because the question was posed, what would you pick, like to me?
Yeah.
And that's what I told him.
Yeah.
But you're also going off of your customers.
I'm going to pick different shit than you just to be a dick. So,
yeah, it's okay if your customers are uninformed and they picked the wrong rifle. That's fine.
And influencers would say I get this question a lot, but we actually do get the question a lot.
I answer this question 2 to 4 times, probably 4 times a week.
Yeah. And it comes from the guy that either hasn't been Western hunting at all, and maybe he's an East Coast whitetail hunter, and he doesn't want to invest a bunch of money in a bunch of different guns kind of thing, and he does just want one rifle, do all.
One and done.
Yeah. And maybe everybody wants it that way. I tend to be a guy that has less rifles than more.
Yeah.
But when a guy would ask me this question on the phone, I would first ask him, what other cartridges do you already have? Because if he tells me that he has a 6.5 PRC and a 300 PRC and he's looking for something in the middle, well, that's kind of common sense, to direct him to a 7 PRC.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference between you selling rifles and me going, what the fuck's wrong with the ones you have?
Yeah, you would, except for, if the guy calls and he's looking for a third rifle,
right.
I mean, he's already made a decision at this point. We're just helping him along. I could say, you already have 2 of the best cartridges out there. Why do you need another one? That's not exactly very salesy of me owning a rifle building business, but I guess, the right number of rifles for anybody is whatever you have plus one. So, do him a solid and tell him a 7 PRC. And he's going to say this. He's going to be like, well, that's what I've been reading. That's what I've been thinking. That's what every other guy has told me. I just wanted to make sure. Right. And it's I always think about it the opposite. And we've always told you guys this, is that it's not the cartridge, it's the bullet. Because you can make any cartridge perform like the next one simply with barrel length or any number of changes you can make. The cartridge is just the horsepower. It's the bullet doing the work. And just like the guy I used to know, I'll just say his name was Mike. And the first time I met Mike at the mechanic shop I used to work in back when, he's a brand new mechanic. He goes right on the Snap-on truck and buys a $14,000 toolbox, and he has enough tools to fill one drawer. So I tried to explain to him, it's not the toolbox that fixes the bus, it's the tools. And it's the same situation, I think. It's not the cartridge, it's the bullet. So We have bullets that we prefer. Like when you talk about 6.5 PRC, I'm sure that you're going to say the 147 ELBM is probably the number one choice. So whether it was a 6.5 Creedmoor, a 6.5 PRC, a 6.5/7 PRC improved plus P, a 26 Nosler, any of those cartridges along that line are still going to push the same fucking bullet. So you could have a 34-inch barrel on a 6.5 Creed, or you can have a 16-inch barrel on a 26 Nosler. It would be the same bullet at the same velocity, resulting in the same death. But did the cartridge really matter? Well, then there's barrel life, how much powder are you burning, a bunch of other bullshit. But in general, it's not the cartridge. It's just like what they say, it's not the car, it's the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Same shit. So we can have an argument all day long about, but that's the typical customer that calls. He either knows exactly what he wants, or he's looking for some type of suggestion. And in general, there's two guys here. There's the guy that knows that 6.5 is the right choice, that's always been a 30 cal guy. And then there's the guy that maybe he's a 33 guy his whole life, and going down to 6.5 is just too big of a jump. So, you either put him in a 7 PRC at that point, or convince him on a 300 PRC or whatever. But when you talk about one cartridge to do it all, any three of those cartridges are going to do it all. But if you're just leaning towards the smallest of the three, like what is the least amount of recoil or least amount of powder that's going to give me the same result? See, these are all the different things I think about when somebody simply states, what is your top pick for an all-purpose cartridge? I don't know.
What is it?
Okay,
you can
I'm going to answer it this way.
Answer it this way. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
You can answer it in two phases. You can answer it from a customer perspective.
Yep.
And you can answer it from Jake's perspective. Let's hear both.
Okay. From the customer perspective, it's an interview, and it's what do you already have? And it'll be one of those three cartridges is what I suggest. You
also ask him, do you reload or not?
Not for those three.
Gotcha.
Because the factory ammo is available and it's decent, right? So you can, that's almost not an input. If it's a 6UM conversation, then reloading comes into play.
I think it's a conversation with all of them.
It could be.
Is he going to reload, or is he going to buy factory ammo for his rifle?
Well, I'll also say this, that when you ask a guy if he reloads, there are just as wide of a spectrum as reloaders as there are cartridges.
Right.
In other words, he's been doing some 9mm shit with his dad since he was little on a progressive, or he uses a fucking auto trickler and he has a single stage press and he knows what a comparator is, and he has a Mitutoyo caliper, and, there's different levels of loaders, I think, too, at the same time.
And there is, but like why I would ask him is it is about the bullet. So there's a big difference between somebody that's going to shoot factory ammo out of a 20-inch barrel or reloaded ammo out of a 20-inch barrel.
Very true.
So that bullet can do different things at different distances. If I know he's going to be a little snortier loads than factory. That's why I would ask about the reloader. Yeah,
the reloader is going to technically be at a higher pressure and a higher velocity if he chooses to be. There are those reloaders, like I said, that are extremely safe that might come under fucking factory ammo.
As Nick would say, he's Walmart safe.
He is fucking Walmart safe. Like if you want some shit, you got to tell him up front. Even when you tell him up front, you still might not get what you want. Yes. So from a customer business perspective, after an interview, it would end up being one of those three cartridges. And not to toot Hornady's horn or anything else, it's really because of available factory ammo and the fact that we know that most of those cartridges shoot well.
What were the three again?
6.5, 7, and 300 PRC. This is an average.
Gotcha.
It's also when customers call you, it's something that they know, guarantee something that they've heard of. Maybe they've already done their research and they know it's going to be one of those three also. When you start talking about SOMs, or you start using slang terminology to refer to different types of cartridges, you kind of go over the head a little bit. And that's also part of the interview. Like you can tell if the dude knows his shit as far as cartridges go, and he's done all his research and he's heard of, Richard Sherman and Sherman Wildcats before, and why wouldn't I do this with this Sherman when I could do this with a PRC or this, or, So it really depends on the customer. But I would say this, any three of those cartridges would fit this question. If three dudes were here with three different answers and it was one of those three cartridges that says, what is the best all-purpose cartridge? Any one of those three can fit that bill, in my opinion. So then there's the personal part of it. So the personal part is my rifle right now is a 6.5/7 PRC improved plus P. Long fucking blurted out shit. So it's a 7 PRC cartridge, neck down to 6.5. improved shoulder to 40 degree, and we've done the plus P on the rifling, which gives you about 100 feet per second more. So that rifle has a 20-inch barrel, and it's shooting a 147. It's between 3125 and 3150. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but it's fucking humming, and it's on the low side. It's not even a hot load. Usually we could have very well went up over 32 pretty easy. But coming back to why, so I suppressed that rifle, so I wanted a short barrel, which means I wanted more horsepower. I know that a 147 is a killing some bitch, and you don't need much more than that. So put all those things together, and I have the option to have ammo loaded for me any way I wanted, build a rifle any way that I wanted. So wildcatting is not a big deal. And that's a badass fucking gun, in my opinion. Got a rock stock on it. It's a Vesper. It's a medium. And killed everything in Africa, like you were talking about your DTACs. And I think the 147 is an all-around. So going back to those cartridges or those choices in a 6.5 PRC, the 147 is the choice. In the 7 PRC, the 180 is the choice. And you know what's funny is, so on the side of a 180 ELDM box, it requires 8 twist for the barrel. That is generally the factory ammo for 7 PRC, right? It is the factory ammo, 7 PRC, 180 ELDM, or 175 ELDX. Tikka builds the 7 PRC with a 9 twist.
Plus Tikka.
Like literally the best factory ammo available requires an 8 twist. What fucking dumbass in Finland chose a 9 twist? Like that is the easiest little piece of research you could possibly do. Best factory ammo for 7 PRC. Oh, that bullet requires an 8 twist. What should I build my rifle with?
It makes you wonder, is there something over there that they use that requires a 9 twist? Because they did the same thing with the 30 cals and the 11 twists or 12 twists. Yeah. It's like made no goddamn sense.
Yeah. So anyways, sorry, Tikka guys. You know we love you, but at this point, that was a shitty decision.
I'm going to guess that America's their biggest market to sell Tikkas in.
I hope so.
I would guess it is. They would think they would listen or look at what's the top bullet.
How easy would that research have been?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of things that Europeans do.
I guess maybe the CIP spec, which is what our SAMI spec is in the US for Europe, maybe the CIP spec'd it at 9 twist. Maybe they spec'd it at a different pressure. I don't know. But I'm not saying that the 180 won't shoot in the 9 twist. It'll probably be just fine. But it was just a stupid choice.
I imagine at sea level, it's going to be iffy.
Never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Huh. That's weird.
That's the only downside to so I do have 2 of those 7 PRC stainless, muzzle threaded, brand new Tikkas for 2025. 22-inch barrels are on the way to the shop right now. They might not be available by the time you hear this, but if you're interested, shoot us an email. It is a 9 twist, though. I'm going to tell you that.
Fuck.
So you might be limited to 175 and under.
What's the 6.5 PRC? Do you know?
8 twist.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, okay, you mean the Tikka, so I got to fucking look. It's because we got those on the way, too.
Yeah, and I got another question yesterday about those left-handers.
Okay. I don't have any updated information on delivery-wise. It's still going to be the same July, August, but we're kind of saying August. But it is just a waiting game at this point. Like I told in the product description, we were assigned a SKU number. The order is in. It's just waiting for its production slot. And now that we're seeing these new rifles for 2025, they will be the same kind of new style. So they should be fit in pretty quick.
And those are 16 and 20-inch barrels, you said?
I have it in the product. I think it's 18 or 20.
Gotcha.
Stainless, left hand, with the muzzle threads.
That's awesome.
I want to say it's 20 or 18.
Well, the one that came in was a 16. That was pretty sweet.
That was really short.
That was
like
awesome.
We slid our 4-inch over the barrel suppressor onto it.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
And it looked like a sawed-off shotgun, basically.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right, you're going to have to talk while I'm looking for this shit.
I fucking hope they put a 1 and 8 twist in that 6.5 PRC.
Let me,
because that would be if they put a 1 and 9 in there, there's no way they did that. But
I didn't think they'd do it on the 7 PRC,
Europeans,
but they did.
You never really know. I think that those Tikkas that's going to up their cells just being threaded.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, threaded, ready to go. and barrel lengths that people want to be suppressed. But that left-hander crowd is an interesting crowd because they clamor, they need it, and then they drag their feet when the offer is given, which I find interesting.
Well, I think it went past from dragging feet at this point, and guys are now worried if they're going to get into the first batch of 100, and if we're going to do another batch and so on. As long as there are enough emails left, I will do another order, even if it's for a smaller amount. I think the hard work has been done, and I couldn't give you an answer on what the minimum order is. Maybe now that there's a SKU and shit, he can just put an order for me anytime. I'm not sure.
So basically, it was a special order for the lefties.
It absolutely was. It was a specially created part number just for what I asked for.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't fucking do it.
Yeah, they're like hen's teeth. Every week, there's a left-hander want to buy out on Rockslide. So
I'm getting there. I'm almost there.
6.5 PRC from Tikka. It's like rolling the dice. We get a 1 and 8. We get a 1 and 9. Is it a 1 and 15? We need that clock music like Jeopardy, man. You got to.
I'm now selecting 6, 5, and 7 PRC. Okay, now I'm now in the screen. Okay, the 2 new ones for 7. Oh, what in the hell? Here's some more information. So there are 2 different twist rates for 7 PRC. Okay, the Rough Tex, for some reason, the Rough Tex stainless steel with the fluted barrel, that's the one with the 9 twist. Now I'm kind of full of shit. All the other ones are 8 twist.
Oh.
So the stainless synthetic that's on the way is a 22-inch barrel, and it has an 8 twist. That's the muzzle threaded one. Yeah, those aren't going to last.
We take back everything we said.
I'm sorry, Tikka. Yeah. But you did make 2 on here that are highlighted fucking green on your order sheet. It says Tikka Rough Tex stainless steel fluted threaded barrel, and they say 1 and 9. Your 6.5 PRCs, sir, are 8 twist.
Yeah, perfect.
Stainless synthetic.
I do have still a bone to pick with Tikka.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
What?
It says 10 twist.
On what?
Hold on. Hopefully that's a fucking typo. There's only one that shows with a 10 twist. No, there are 2.
On a 6.5 PRC?
I'm telling you.
No fucking way.
I'm telling you. Let me look at the part number that's coming. Well, that's horrible.
This is like being live.
Okay, JRTXB 31922.
There's no fucking way they did a 1 in 10 twist.
JRTXB 31922.
They're coming their 10 twists?
They're fucking 10. If it's according to this document. So I'm in the order writer.
There is no
And let me highlight
way
that one.
There'd be a 10 twist 6.5 PRC. Oh.
It's the only one that says 10 twists. That should be a typo.
I hope so. Damn fucking spreadsheets.
On the order writer, it doesn't give me the twist on the order.
Still got a boat.
But the part numbers match.
So we're half sorry. If it's really a 10
twist,
or it's a typo. When are the 6.5 supposed to be here?
Tomorrow.
The PRCs?
The PRCs will be here tomorrow. Those 7 PRCs will be, I think, Wednesday next week.
Okay.
Ugh.
I still have a bone to pick with them. Why don't we have a 6 Crete? Why? Why?
That's it. Because it's not. Well, it's because it's not CIP.
Oh, fucking stupid.
All right, this is 6.5.
So the question was asked to me. If this question's asked to me like I say it is, which it actually is, unlike most influencers that lie and say, I get this question all the time. Bitch, nobody's asking you questions. Don't lie. But most of the people already know the Rockslide community. And if I had my druthers, I would tell them a 6 Creed. We talked about this before the podcast. But for some people, that's just too fucking big of a reach. So my answer generally is buy a 6.5 PRC, Tikka, use it for a year. That'll kind of tell you what you want. Why do I say 6.5 PRC for all Western hunting? Hell, all North American hunting. And it's all based around a 147. Jake's right. 147 ELDM is the bullet. And for me, it's shootability. If you look at us, the reason I tell them not a 7 PRC, which is the most popular rifle being chambered right now, pretty much.
A Tikka with a 7 PRC was the most popular build in 2024.
So if you take shootability as my prime driver, I'm paraphrasing, I'm pretty close though. A 7 PRC has 27 foot-pounds of recoil. 6.5 PRC has 16 foot-pounds of recoil.
Oh, shit.
So you're talking 11 foot-pounds of difference in
Where are you getting these numbers from? Don't be just making shit up.
recoil calculators.
Huh?
I look all this up when we do the WES stuff.
Oh.
27. It's 27 within a foot-pound.
Somebody needs a data check. This needs to be like a Trump fucking, what do you call it, when they debate
check me.
Yeah. You need to fact check
me.
him on this shit.
I am solid with it. It's within a pound to 27 foot.
It's hard for me to believe that it's half the recoil.
Let's do it right now. Look up a recoil calculator.
We can do that.
27 foot-pounds against, let's say, within a pound of 16 foot-pounds.
What's it gonna ask for data points to figure that out?
It's gonna ask rifle weight. It's gonna ask the grain of the bullet and the speed of the bullet, I believe.
Yeah, so rifle.
Yeah.
Recoil calculator.
And it's within 20. It's within a pound.
Shooter's calculator is the first one that came up. So bullet weight is I don't want to put my name in. 147.
Mm-hmm.
Bullet velocity.
Let's just say 2950.
2950. Powder charge weight.
Let's go 59 grains.
I wonder why it wants to know that. Let's call it a 9-pound gun.
Yep, that's exactly what I put in.
Calculate. Did it already calculate?
Just thinking about that equation.
And label recoil energy. It's saying 18.71, but I don't know if it actually. Let me change something here. Let me change it to 2900, see if it changes. Oh, yeah, it's changing live. Okay, so 2950 is 18.71 foot-pounds.
Okay, so I said 16, so two off of that. Let's put in a 7 PRC.
So it's going to be a 180. We'll leave it at 2950. Charge weight's going to be 68. Yeah? 68?
I think it's either 68 or 69, but it's right there.
We'll leave it 69. 9-pound rifle, 27.04.
What did I say?
So 27. It is 9. It's not double, but it's 9 pounds more. Let's just call it an even 10.
I said 16 on the PRC and 27 on the 7 PRC.
You did.
So I'm a little off. It depends on the calculator you use too. There's little wiggle room there, but I'm close.
For building rockets here, we're a little off. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, for recoil, I don't know if you're going to fill that full pound. Maybe you will. But anyways.
We'll just call it 10 pounds difference. That is substantial when you're talking about the high side's 27 and low. I mean, it's 50%
it
of
is
the low side.
So it's and it kind of plays itself out because the biggest rifle at 9 pounds that I can have a suppressor on and I can shoot and spot my own hits is a 6.5 PRC.
Mm.
I've tried it with a 7 PRC, tried a 7 mag. It's too much.
Is this yardage dependent?
Yeah, like usually I can't do it at 100. Like a 6 I can almost do it all the time at 100.
Yeah.
With a 6.5 PRC, 300 or out, 400 or out. I can see the impacts for pretty much every position.
That would probably be something that should always be included in the conversation, but never is the follow-up shot.
Yeah.
Ability to spot impacts. Like that should have a role in your cartridge decision because some guys are big, some guys are little. Obviously that has an influence on what you can and can't handle. Some guys shoot well, some guys don't. Some guys have good form, some guys don't. All that plays into whether or not you can follow up. And if you're hunting alone, if you find that you hunt alone quite a bit, that should be one of the biggest things that you are considering is the ability for a follow-up shot.
Once you can do it, you always want to do it. Because what it does is whether you have a spotter or not, sometimes spotter angles fuck with them. Sometimes you shoot through an animal and it fucks with the spotter because there is a different angle. Even if they're right behind you, it's not always great to shoot and pull. If you can spot your own shot to get that follow-up, you know exactly what you need to do to adjust or do the same thing. Or if you know the animal's hit, you just want to get a second one in to freaking put him down. Once you start seeing that, you don't want to see it. And I want to see it every time. But that is the breakdown. With a 9-pound rifle with a suppressor, 6.5 PRC is and then I got a death grip. Like I can do it with a 7.5 or 7 PRC, but then I got a death grip that fucker. And then my form kind of goes to shit. So 6.5 PRC is about the biggest for that. And yeah, 7 PRC is better ballistically, but you're giving up that recoil. Yeah. But you can shoot, if you're shooting in the 29s and you're shooting a 147, for all intended purposes, out elevation, you're good. If you do if you train, you're good to 1,000 yards. That bullet will work to 1,000 yards.
Mhm.
And truth be known, most people should not be shooting 1,000 yards.
When we say 1,000 yards into that cartridge, it is velocity dependent because it can be
is.
a short barrel or long barrel. We're
It
talking 1,800 feet per second and up.
Yep. That's
Yep.
why I'm saying in the 29s.
Yep.
Faster, better, but you get a little more recoil.
Yeah. So if you're at 29 plus in your muzzle velocity to start, then more than likely you're at 18 plus at 1,000.
Yeah, it's just a little under. But like when I shot that elk in Montana at 906, dude, I put it on him. I hit him in the heart and I hit him in the lungs. But that bullet did a tremendous amount of damage at about 1,900 feet per second.
I still couldn't believe how frozen solid that fucking elk was.
Oof. Now, that one wasn't going to rot. That one,
No.
we talked about really. That
It went right into the
was
freezer.
solid. I gutted him. Literally, I gutted him out on the mountain, propped him up, and I skinned out. I like to go around the hams because they get hot.
Yeah.
And we came back the next day, dude. That
Fuck.
motherfucker was
Solid.
frozen. Oof. Yeah.
Well, you went back the next day, but you had a big old
I had a
brush
big old
fire and shit.
Some of the meat was singed because I had
Yeah.
to fucking thaw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Good Lord.
But anyways, I have seen a whole bunch of death with the 6.5 PRC, 6.5 Psalm, basically twins, around 2950 to 3050. I've seen Jim's daughter shoot a bull elk at 1030, 1,030 yards. Just crushed it. It was doing 2980. Absolutely destroyed the heart and lungs. So anyways, the whole point of that is, to me, it comes down to shootability. That's why I tell people that. And it comes down to me, no matter what somebody tells me, I always look at it in my perspective as I'm a procrastinator. You can ask Jake. I'm an epic procrastinator. So if I didn't know Jake and I didn't know unknown munitions, I'm going to say I'm going to reload and I'm going to do all this shit. A lot of time with kids, family life, I'd just go back fucking factory ammo and I'd fucking go sight in, validate it, and go hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So with a 6.5 PRC, you also get the Hornady, at factory ammo. But you got to watch out because like a 20-inch barrel, I have a 20-inch barrel on a Nexus from Gunworks. It's shooting like 2790. So you would have to reload. Do you even do the Mayhem series anymore?
Yeah, definitely.
You'd have to do your own reload or go to somebody like Jake, because we were shooting a 156 out of a 22-inch barrel at 2980.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put some 565 in that thing.
We will load the ammo to whatever you want, actually. So we just rebuilt that load data or custom load request form on the website, and it's been coming in hot now. So if you guys have your own load data that, let's say, might necessarily be a little hot, as long as we think that it's within guidelines of what we would use personally, then we'll load it for you. If you want something obscene, probably not, but obscene meaning it's the wrong powder for the cartridge and just way too much of it or so on. But within reason, we'll load ammo any way you want.
They loaded me one round obscene one time.
Yeah, it was a doozy. It was just a test,
It did well.
It did. The brass held, the action held, everything fucking held.
The sucker went like 3340.
Damn.
Well, anyways,
Secret sauce.
There was the secret sauce. You have to call in and ask Jess special for that.
Yes.
Can I damage my brass by fire forming?
Yes, absolutely. You can damage your brass by fire forming it. You need to, when you're doing a fire forming, you got to make sure that your chamber and the brass that you're starting with are compatible, and the load that you load for your fire forming load, you got to make sure that that's a safe load. If it's under pressure, you're not going to fire form the brass properly. If it's over pressure, you could cause splits in your brass where the brass is having to flow out to fill the chamber. And if you're got too fast a powder, too high a pressure, then you could end up having issues there. If the headspace is not quite right on the brass that you loaded into your chamber, then the brass is going to move around in the chamber and not fire form like you think it's supposed to fire form. So you want to make sure that you're practicing good techniques there with either a false shoulder or jamming the bullets in the lands, those kinds of things to make sure that the brass is stationary in your chamber that you're fire forming to, with a good known fire forming load.
But like I said, that would be my choice to just that general question. Like I said, I think people would actually, most hunters, a lot of hunters don't agree with this. A lot of your hunters don't agree with this, wouldn't go down this rabbit hole. I think most people should actually start with a 6 Creedmoor. But it's hard to get a 6 Creedmoor in a rifle I like. So it is difficult to where the 6.5 PRC is easier, and it is easier to step down from a 7 or a 30 to a 6.5 than it is a 6. People say, "Oh, that's too much. That ain't gonna work." It absolutely does, but people argue with me all day long.
Yeah.
They call me and they ask me. They're literally asking me for my advice, and I said, "Well, what about 6 Creedmoor?" They're like, "Oh my God, I don't. Animals are gonna run off. I'm not gonna find it. Meat's gonna rot. Maybe out there crippling animals."
Yeah.
And it's just not the case.
Even though I have full faith that it does work,
Mhm.
I still like a 6.5.
Why?
I like that bullet.
I like the bullet.
When you find a bullet that doesn't fail you, or like if that's something else that you talk to with the customer about, right? So if they're diehard 215 hybrids, that is the only fucking bullet they will shoot at an animal anymore. Then you're just working 30 cal. You got to do what you got to do. Then maybe it's a 300 WSM that you're talking about. But so for me, I have killed a very small amount of animals in comparison to the people usually that I'm hunting with. And I know that 147 is going to fucking hammer. Whether it's Jessica shooting it, Mason shooting it, or me shooting it, no matter what. And it's controllable. It's shootable. If Jess can shoot it off a tripod and kill fucking all the shit that she did in Africa, then it's good for me.
There's also a component to that whole setup that we don't talk about enough, and that's the rock stock.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it is in a rock stock, and it tends to be very shootable for females, for small-handed individuals. And not that it doesn't shoot great for everybody, but for some reason, those people are have never been in a stock that actually feels this good, and they get very surprised and they shoot well.
Well, we have a video of your wife shooting it for the first time.
Yeah.
We don't have a video of my wife, but my wife shot a lot, but what she struggled with was getting into the eye box. And for whatever reason, like Kelly, I was shooting rock stock with Kelly the other day. And Kelly got right down in there. He's like, "Man, this thing is just easy to get into the eye box." And for females, for some reason,
was he laying down?
Yeah, he was laying down, or both ways. He was sitting and kneeling and shooting too. And he's like, "Man, this thing is just easy to get into." And Tanya got right into hers and shot. And I was like, "How was it?" She's like, "That was the first time I ever got right down. And I didn't have to fuck around trying to get into the eye box to get a total, sight picture of the reticle."
Yeah.
And then when Jess shot it, she was all smiles.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rifle's a good weight, to handle the recoil too. So it does a little bit of mitigation for you. And then it's suppressed. So of course everybody loves a nice quiet rifle. So you're not worried about ear protection when you're on the heat of the moment, things like that. And it enables you to discuss with everybody what's going on. All around, it's pretty hard to beat. And again, it's the bullet. So I'd stopped thinking about cartridges when we kind of first started building rifles, just because it didn't make sense to me. And for the physics or mechanical side of the brain, we don't care. It's just horsepower. You can change powders within that. Like H4831 shortcut shoots very accurately at a 6.5 PRC, but it might be 200 feet per second slower than 565. So, there are just those simple changes you can make to increase horsepower. That had nothing to do with the cartridge. It was the powder. So there are a lot of things you can do to make your bullet go faster, which should be what's important to you.
Yeah. And you gotta be honest with yourself. And I don't think enough people are, is that bull of a lifetime, that buck of a lifetime, no matter what you're telling me, if you're saying, "Oh, I'm not going to shoot past 400 yards, but a 200-inch buck walks out," and I don't give a shit, ethics aside, because people can argue about that all day long. That buck walks out at 550. I can almost unless you're superhuman, you're taking that shot. Well, have you done the math? Is that bullet going to work at 550 yards? Is that bullet going to work if that's your number 650 yards? So you got to go the furthest you would really shoot and back it up from there.
Yeah.
Because they say one thing, they do it. That's all the guys that take a bow and a rifle to Alaska bow hunting. Nobody fucking kills anything with that bow if they got a rifle with them. They almost always end up killing with a rifle.
Yeah.
Same thing.
There are still a ton of guys out here that are weary about just match bullets, let alone small cartridges. We were just mounting a couple scopes for a customer walked in yesterday. He had a Night Force NX8 432, and then he had a Leupold Mark V. A 5 to 20. It's a Mark V, right? 5 to 25. And then immediately he says, because he brings the Leupold to the shop, and that doesn't happen normally. So immediately he says, I've had really good luck with just the Mark Vs. I've had some bad luck with VX6s. But the Mark V, and the Mark V, does the best out of the line, right?
It is the best.
Yeah. So anyways, but he starts saying, he listens to podcasts and this and that, and he still can't bring himself to shoot match bullets. And I can relate to that at this point. So I started after the fact, where I saw what match bullets can do, and I don't want to go to a fucking Acumon. I don't want to go to an LRX, that those guys grew up seeing what they did. So you have to have some sensitivity to that, because if they are 100%, just like I'm sure that a 147 is going to work, you're not going to talk me out of it. They might be sure that their 140 Acumon is the go-to, and they won't be told otherwise. This is the bullet I've seen kill all the animals. You're not going to talk me out of it. So, there are a lot of different perspectives. I like to put myself in other people's shoes and from their perspectives or points of view, and you got to give them some credit when those kind of things happen. And if they want that 140 Acumon, then we can talk about horsepower and what can get that bullet, maybe going a little faster. And yeah.
I don't give my opinion, on here I do, because that's kind of what a podcast is about.
That's what we do, yeah.
I don't give, if somebody tells me they shoot something and they don't ask my opinion, I don't tell them anything. Because maybe they have a long track record. Don't get us wrong. Acubons, all these bullets, all these monos, these, bonded bullets, partitions, great bullet. They all kill, no question. I just think one couple different bullet designs, more on the match side, kill better.
Yeah.
Kill faster. They have the result that I want quicker.
Yeah.
By all means, though, if you grew up shooting partitions or Acubons or Barnes bullets and that's what's working for you, I'm not going to argue with you.
So both his rifles were Weatherby, a big Weatherby fan, Mark V's, and one was the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. And I kind of equate 6.5 Weatherby RPM somewhat to a 6.5 PRC.
Very similar.
It's a similar case. Obviously, it's a lot longer throat because that's what Weatherby's known for. But yeah, they were just Weatherby was trying to do their thing to relate to the 6.5 PRC. And so, I mean, it's a good cartridge. If you can make your own good ammo with that cartridge, then that's fantastic. It's just another form of horsepower.
It is.
Yeah. And some cartridges, there's a lot of arguments. Some cartridges do have more inherent accuracy because of their design. That you can't deny that fact across the board. But whatever Hornady's doing with their design on those three cartridges, they all tend to shoot very well. Like you can almost build any 6.5 PRC with any barrel and bring it out and be like, okay, that should shoot a 1/2 inch.
Right.
Yeah.
What I find interesting about inherent accuracy, though, is some people use that as an excuse.
Yes.
Like, from growing up, man, 300, growing up, the 300 Ultra came out, I think, in 99.
Yeah.
And everybody told me how shitty and inaccurate. Dude, reloading wise, I never had a problem getting a 300 to shoot.
Yeah.
Then the 28 came out, and I'm sure you heard this. The 28 nozzler sucks.
Yeah.
It's not very accurate. It's hard to get to shoot. The most accurate rifle with multiple different grains of bullets and powders rifle I've ever had was a Proof 28 nozzler built by Red Rock Precision.
Yeah.
Across multiple lines. I've had more accurate 6mm built by overall, but for shooting from going from like a 150 to a 195, that fucking 28 would shoot everything in the tiny little groups. And I don't mean 3 shots, 0.2 all day. I mean, I shot 7 to 10 shot groups still then. I think I started doing that in 2010. Dude, it would shoot like legit 0.8s, 0.7s.
Talk about a cartridge that went 1 year from being so coveted and wanted to the next year just being poo-pooed.
How many do you sell those?
None. Like, I bet
Zero?
that last year they may have built 1 or 2, but it's last year that the 7 PRC just crushed the 28 nozzler as far as wanted 7mm.
I've not shot enough 7 PRCs. What is the difference if you're shooting 180s? What's the speed difference?
Oh, probably 200 feet per second. It wasn't that, though. It's the shiny new thing.
It is.
It had just come out, and it makes sense. And a lot of people poo-pooed the 28 nozzler. Well, we know it to be it's something like 125% overbore. It's huge. And it was a hot rod, and it was a barrel burner, and everybody knew all these things about the 28 nozzler. Not, they knew some guys wanted it because it was a hot rod. Other guys didn't because of that. But 7 PRC was kind of a good middle ground, so it didn't have a belt on it, so you didn't need to look at 7 mag, and all of a sudden they give you this choice that has good factory ammo, and of course that word ballistics that everybody loves to throw around on the marketing side, which just means a sleeker bullet going faster or slower, whatever you want to say. But ballistically, for the normal dude's mine rifles, the 7 PRC looks superior to a 7 mag, not a 28 nozzler, but again, there's so many negatives about the 28 nozzler for guys that makes that 7 PRC kind of look better. But yeah, 28 nozzler went from 2023 being hot. Everybody wanted one to 2024. Everybody's talking about the 7 PRC. And I don't even think those of you that think the 7 backcountry was going to catch on and take off, if the 7 PRC can crush a 28 Nosler, the 7 backcountry is sticking around.
Well, what you have to date with those three, in my opinion, is you have a fucking marketing
Powerhouse.
fucking just crush marketing with Hornady. You have a marketing turd with Nosler, and Federal. They don't really seem to produce a lot of things that are great so far. What is this?
Just primers.
Fantastic primers. But it's like you already can see the shine of the 7 backcountries wearing off. Yeah. I have it in my phone. I have this in my phone, a reminder at 1 year from that podcast. We're doing another one. Yeah. And this 2 years.
Yeah.
Where is this? I still stand
That's fucking
by
awesome.
What I said. I can't speak for you about where it'll be.
My shit ain't changed. I literally told my guys we're not building them, and they haven't come back to me again. They tried to slip one in on me.
They tried.
I had to fucking smack some hands and say no. We said no, and these are the reasons why. And then you're trying to go anyway. So we still don't do it.
It'll be interesting. I still stand by what I said. I don't think it'll be a thing.
Yeah,
I think that 7. You're right. The 7 PRC is going to just keep hammering.
There are a lot of reasons to go with the 7 PRC, and I don't think the 7 backcountry has anything that great. And again, like I fucking said, man, they get into these ballistics talks, and that's just where it's so wrong when it comes to custom rifles and custom ammo. You can do so much more with any cartridge that you don't need to talk about ballistics.
I still want somebody outside of Federal to take me through their reloading process and show me the groups.
Oh, that'd be great.
If it's awesome, I'd be the first person to say, well, fuck, we were totally wrong.
Yeah. Let's go shoot some boxed ammo out of a production rifle from, I guess Fierce is doing pretty good with those. Mm-hmm. Shoot a Fierce and then reload those on the spot and shoot them again. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I want to see that happen.
Yeah.
But to me, the shine is already starting to fade.
Yeah.
And of the 3 PRCs, we both can agree that the 6.5 PRC is the best one.
Dude, I think each one has its spot. Mm-hmm. Like the project we kind of just that we've been kind of talking about is you want the same kind of overbore, but across the line of calibers, right? Which is what they did with that. Mm-hmm. I bet if we did the overbore calculation on all 3, it would nearly be identical.
I think they've actually said that they're pretty much the same.
Yes. So, I mean, maybe they found the sweet spot. They found the sweet spot conservatively. They're definitely not high performance.
No.
There's a lot better options for performance-wise.
Yeah.
But for the masses, that level of performance is what they need. And it's just good all-around package.
They're good at marketing, but they SAMI-spec'd all 3 of those fucking correctly.
You can't tell me you wouldn't take a 300 PRC out right now and hunt with it.
No, I would absolutely.
You would absolutely, and maybe you don't stay in the box for after the first shot, but we've been shooting big ones long enough to where you deal with it.
To me, it's like there's no need to.
Yes,
like that. I've seen enough now, and unless we've already talked about it, I know like there are people get ethics aside. There are places where I know I would shoot past 1,000 yards. And if I know that is a strong chance, I'm just going to take 33 XE.
Yeah.
I'm going to go past all these medium magnums to the fucking Big Daddy.
Yeah.
And it's packing, 300 grain bullet at 3,100 feet per second.
There is something to be said about 115 grains and 300 grains. It is what it is.
Yeah. And it's the shootability difference for most of the shots I'm going to take.
Yeah.
That's why I love the 6UM, because if you do put it through the whiz, it's one of the best.
Well, until the majority of the people understand why match bullets or why smaller cartridges, we're still going to have this world in the rifle building world and the retail world that you still have to accommodate all the other people.
Well, we're going against a whole marketing machine, man. It's mushrooms are good. They're not good, but that's what people, the amount of times people say, look at this mushroom, man. This did a lot of damage. And then you show them what a match bullet ELDM can do for a wound channel.
I thought you were talking about real mushrooms.
No. No. I'm talking about bullet mushrooms.
I was going to say, yeah, mushrooms do a lot of good.
We've just been fed that these mushrooms or a Barnes X with the little, star opening looks real pretty, and we need to retain all that mass for all that penetration.
Or when they recover that perfectly flowered bullet off the opposite side hide, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And
yeah, good job. You got a golf ball sized permanent wound channel. Good job.
Yeah.
Or you could have a a fucking softball size fucking permanent wound channel. Which would you like? There's no human that said, okay, Jake, today I'm gonna shoot you with my fucking 300 Ultra. Okay,
Oh fuck.
you can choose the bullet.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna shoot you with a fucking Barnes LRX, or I'm gonna shoot you with a fucking 225 grain ELDM.
Mm.
You're gonna, knowing what you know, know what I know. I'm gonna take the fucking Barnes every time.
You're gonna take the bullet that stays together.
I'm gonna take the bullet with the little bitty wound channel.
There's a reason why you see in the movies when they used to cut some of the other bullet entrance wound, right? And they would kind of cut them open a little bit. They'd go in there with the pliers, and they'd grab the bullet. First, they're making the sure that the bullet was intact and whole.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they have more shit to look for. But they would even look for the little piece of shirt that got taken in with the bullet, because if they leave that in there, you're going to get infection and you're going to fucking die.
Yep.
So now they're making sure that there's a reason why they show that shit in the movies, and it's the same reason you don't want shrapnel coming off a bullet going into different parts of your body.
Mhm.
That is just more death and devastation. So why do you want a bullet that's not going to come apart with shrapnel? You want it to stay together and keep its whole body in one little piece rather than just explode and just like detonate like a grenade. Well, I guess you know.
Yeah, you're not gonna want that. You're not gonna want that match bullet in you because you're gonna fucking die. That goes back to we need to have Luke track down that guy, because when we were talking about match bullets before for hunting.
Oh yeah, the guy that got shot.
The guy that got shot. He goes, I know a use case where I want a mono,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, what? And he's like, when you shoot your buddy by accident or whatever happened.
Oh man.
And he got shot in the stomach by a mono.
In fact, a 300 rum might even be a better choice just because of the velocity. It might not even expand. Even the star might not even expand. It just zip right through you.
I shot 2 whitetails with the old blue. There used to be a blue mono Barnes X bullet.
Mm.
And I shot 2 whitetails. One was at like 60 yards and one was probably 160 yards. And they're 165 grain bullets, and they were doing 33.
300 rum?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Hauling ass.
Oh.
Both of them zinged right through. One did a victory lap for like 30 seconds, just ran this huge circle bleeding in the snow. It looked like a fucking Christmas card.
Yeah.
Just blood all over.
Yeah.
And the other one turned around and ran about 300 yards, and neither one of those bullets, they just zinged right through.
Penciled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
300 Ultras are beasts, but 300 Ultras are a lot better.
That's really a good way
bullets.
to look at it, is if you were going to get shot by a bullet, how would you want that bullet to perform?
I wouldn't
Do you
put a
want
match
it?
bullet.
Yeah. Do you want it going 3,300 and for it to stay perfectly together and zip right through you in a straight line? That would be the best result you could possibly expect or hope for by getting shot by a bullet.
Yeah. And when I tell people that, it's flipped in their mind, I think that because I ask them, and I'd say, no, you want to be shot by the harder bullet that doesn't open up, has a smaller wound channel. That's a hunting bullet.
Mm.
A fucking match bullet is going to leave your guts all fucked up and fried.
Yeah.
Or whatever it hits is coming off if it's a limb.
It's the same shit, right? So you have like 220 cast hard, lead, fucking hard lead, whatever. And then let's take your typical 9mm pistol at home, and you want some home defense ammo. You look at that ammo, that bullet is designed to come apart and just cause destruction for home defense. Right? It can be low velocity, but it gets in there and causes damage. So I didn't think about it that way too. Pistols. You always buy the more expensive box of fucking home defense than just your standard fucking full metal jacket, 9mm that literally is going to zip right through.
It goes back to the hard bullets is we need penetration. And I agree, you do need penetration. You need enough. And it goes back to like the whole thing we did at HaHa with the match bullets. It's placement, penetration, and width. They're all important. If you hit it in the right spot, any of these bullets work. If it gets enough penetration, even on an elk, pretty much from any angle, 16 to 18 inches. And then I want as much fucking width in that wound channel as I can possibly get. Those 3 all matter. Well, you're getting with a bonded bullet or a match bullet, you're getting, say you get the placement, you're going to get the penetration, but 9 times out of 10, you ain't getting the width. Shoot it with a match bullet, pretty much any shot. We don't shoot animals in the open, we don't start shooting them in the asshole, so that's really not a shot. But a hard flanking, hard quartered 2, put the penetration, or put them in the right spot. It'll get enough penetration and catastrophic width damage. So
I guess that would be one use case scenario for penetration, and kind of straight line zipping through would be a straight, your ass is, the elk's ass is facing you. And his head is directly away from you, so you got a perfect rear end shot. That's all you could take, and you're going to put it in the butthole.
Yeah,
you might want it to go as far in as possible.
Texas heart shot. I have hunted a lot in my life. I've never heard, well, I'm going to open up on its asshole. We'll figure it out after that. And to me, I have done this. I've shot animals and I didn't know exactly what happened. They're running away. I don't even shoot them. I try to shoot them in a fucking one of the hips.
Yeah.
I try to shoot them in something that's going to break them down.
Yeah.
I don't try to put it back.
Because shooting
in their guts.
anything in the asshole is kind of just wrong.
It's kind of a dick move.
It is.
All right. I think we've covered all of our bases.
Yes.
Any parting shots?
Are we filled up on classes now? I've seen a lot of shit coming
We
through.
still have Africa. We have not filled that one. So if you're looking, it's in August. We're going to have to decide pretty soon whether it's a go or no go. So if you're on the fence, let us know or sign up. You can go to shoottohunt.com and sign up today. I do think all of the 0 to 600 classes are filled. There may be one in the second week. You'd have to go on and look. It'll say sold out. If it's not, if it doesn't say sold out, there's spots open.
And the reloading class too in June. We need more guys for that too. So make sure you sign up. Sign up early.
What's the cutoff? How many we need?
I think 15.
Yeah, I don't even know where we're at. So,
Yeah.
like I said, if you still have the voodoo reloading, this will get all your questions answered.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's it.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
What I tell you, man? That's a good podcast, huh? Hey, next time I tell you something, you better listen up. Make sure to leave them boys 5 stars.